Hello and welcome back to I don't know I missed one, so that would be round 6 of tier 2 in the first season of what's the name again? Worldwide League Racing. I should probably get off pause. Here in Qatar, new track for this year, though the league's technically new for this year, even though it's kind of not, but it is new for this year. And not loads of people have actually turned up this week, unfortunately. But most of the main championship guys are here. Top 3 in the championship being Mipio, Ricky X, and F1CCNZ are all here. My controller won't charge. That's not ideal. Let me try and sort that. That's annoying. Right, well, anyway, here for qualifying at Qatar. At the moment it's a 50% race. I'm not sure if we have to change that because of the attendance, or if there'll be less points because of how bad the attendance is. But let's not focus on that, because we've got a qualifying session to watch, with barely on track, probably good for traffic, and, I mean, a majority of the fastest people are here, so we should probably see a similar result, though. Magnus is not here, and he's been on pole 2 races in a row. We'll finally have a different pole system. I think he's been on pole 2 races in a row. Might even be 3, you know. Yeah. So, first time I've ever done a race, or watched a race, or any race of any kind at Qatar. So that one will be interesting. But yeah, we'll ride on with one of our many reserves this week, because that is just how pitiful the attendance is, and is usually one of the best for it, but this week it's just disappeared. We'll ride on board with one of the reserves of Snoz. I'm not sure if he's previously reserved, but we'll find out his pace here as he starts the first flying lap of the session. Going up to turn 1, don't think it has a name. Probably not with how new the track is, though it does do MotoGP. We'll ride on board. Looks... Oh yeah. Unfortunately got to go for it. Right, sorry about that. So, no one has set a lap yet. We will continue riding on board with Snoz so far. Don't know how his lap has gone so far because I wasn't here. Had to quickly check something because my charger is not doing very well. But that's not very important, as the only thing we care about at the moment is the on-track action. There is a yellow flag. It looks like an Alfa Romeo has had a little bit of a spin. That's absolutely new and not realistic at all, without a doubt, and that's an invalidation. We are not riding on board with Snoz. Let's go on with another of the new reserves, the AlphaTauri of Le Mans, who has got one of the Alpines, I think that's Bert, very close behind him at the moment, and Global Supply is going to be overtaking here, but Le Mans does set the fastest lap of the session for about a millisecond before Bert replaces him with a 22.0, which is fairly good. Next across the line will be the Murkov. I've missed it. It was not Blitztroop, it was Wreckage, and he has gone second fastest. And now Hyper in the Red Bull goes quickest. He had a great run in Tier 1 last week. Here comes Blitztroop up to the line. He's starting a lap. Car behind him, Mipio, current championship leader, is finishing a lap and goes quickest by 0.4 of a second, but not for long, as Ricky X misplaces him. No, replaces him with a 0.4 gap up front. Next across the line is F1CCNZ. He's coming into the pits. Snoz might be on a lap. No, he's invalidated again. Do we have anyone coming up to the line. Not at the moment. So as it stands, 7 drivers have managed to set a lap. I have a feeling Days... No, he's not. Never mind. What about... No, who's on a lap here? Squash might be on a lap here. We'll ride on board with the rest of it. He is possibly the first Eagle player in the league, so any success he has, he's got basically a massive disadvantage, is brilliant really. And here he does go, and he's I think 7th fastest, which is quite a competitive time relative to some other people at the moment. So not bad from him for his first lap of the session. Just behind him we have the Red Bull of Days on his first lap of the session. I think, yeah, it's his first. No, it's a cooldown. He must have had a bit of a spin on the first one. But we'll stay on board with Days for the rest of this lap, as he's the only man on a lap at the moment. Well, I say man, because I can't be completely sure. I don't know that it's a man. I'm going to take that back. Anyway. We'll stay on board with Days here. Him and Hyper, despite being the Tier 2 Red Bull drivers, have both had great success in Tier 1, especially in Saudi Arabia, where they were at one point leading the constructors' points for that race before it all went horribly wrong for the company. But they certainly do have place to be Tier 1, and that is shown by Days going purple in the middle sector. We'll ride on board with him for the rest of the lap and see if he can go quickest overall. Round the last corner here, and a surprisingly high speed one. You always think he's a little bit slower than it is, and now coming up to line it is a very long run here in Qatar, and Days goes 2nd fastest. That is a bit of a surprise second the purple middle sector. So, next car starting a lap is nobody. Not Strictly's pitting. The Alfa Romeo behind is pitting. The McLaren behind is not. The McLaren behind is F1 CCNZ. And he is starting a lap. I've forgotten to put the link in Discord. Oh, for God's sake. Right. I'll leave you on board. F1 CCNZ. Wow, anyway. Sorry about that. That is now sorted, and we will ride on board with F1 CCNZ. For the remainder of his lap, he's gone purple in the middle sector. He has been up there in every race so far. 3 podiums so far out of 5 races, and coming up to the line, once again, a massively long run to the line. That's an odd way to say it. But he goes 3rd fastest, just a few milliseconds behind Mipio, and 4/10 off the Alpine of Ricky X. Speaking of Mipio, he's on an outlap that is most definitely not a full speed lap. If it is, he definitely has something to worry about right there. Who is on a lap? Do we have anybody on a lap? Hyper is invalidated. But next car to start a lap, interestingly, will be the current provisional pole sitter of Ricky X. So we will ride on board with him for this lap as well. I don't believe anyone is about to set one at the moment, so nothing to lose here. And I need to invite someone, so never mind. Sorry about that. Right, so he's invited. We can carry on with the commentary of Ricky X's lap. Coming up to the first sector here, and he has extended his current advantage. Going purple. Did not see how much it is because my controller battery is low, covered the delta. You might have seen that on stream, I'm not sure. But we'll stay on board with Ricky X for the rest of this lap. Looks very clean so far. Running quite an understeery car, it must be said. Because that's not our problem, that's more of his problem. Essentially that's how he likes to drive. It's up to him really. But we'll stay on board with him for now. I didn't actually catch the middle sector. I don't think he went purple though. Potentially running a lower downforce setup. You never know, Qatar because the setups are fairly wide in variety. It's a higher downforce track and time trial, but you can get away with low downforce here, and that might have worked for Ricky X, as he extends his advantage by 0.3 of a second. Not bad there. Next car to cross the line will be the Red Bull of Hyper, and he gets a lot closer on a 1:21.1, but still 0.4 shy of Ricky X. He does seem fairly comfortable out front at the moment. Next car to cross the line will be not the sister Red Bull. It will be, we've got two Mercs, haven't we? There's a Blitztroop, I think, just started a lap. Days has also started a lap. Finishing the lap is not limited, I think he started a lap as well. I'm getting so confused. Very sorry about that. We do have a yellow flag for a slow Alpine. Is that Ricky X? It is. 1 second, I need to sneeze. Never mind. It's just one of those weird tickly nose moments. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Anyway, at the moment, I am fairly sure nobody is on a lap. Everyone seems to be on the same lap. Ah, Hyper is on a lap. Never mind. I was wrong. So we will ride on board with this. The rest. Ah, he's had a massive snap there. And that is definitely abandoned for him. So, who else is at least on track? Ricky X is on a very, very, very slowing lap. Maybe a cool down lap? You never know here. The Merc of Wreckage is on an outlap. Do we have any Mercs finishing the lap? Blitztroop is on an invalid. Limone might be. Sorry, it's too late to join. I think it is. I don't think I'm allowed to add people now because it can break the game. Limone, I think, is on a lap, but he's right out of ERS. He does improve by a second, but that does not advance him any further up the order. Let's see, who is on a lap? Is that Ricky X? It's not Ricky X. That is the other Alpine of Bert. Yeah, I'm sorry about not being able to let you join. I'm just not completely sure if I'm allowed to, and it's best to play it safe. So, Bert is on a lap at the moment. He was at one point a tier 3 driver this season. He got promoted pretty quick after some great performances reserving in tier 2 and is now full-time Alpine for tier 2. So what can that added confidence get him? Well, I mean, I say added confidence, I really doubt it makes a difference, because you're going to go for it either way. But at the moment, looks like quite a good lap from Bert. I say that, he's just invalidated. Forget I spoke. So, is anybody on a slightly faster lap? Limone is down. Blitztroop is invalid, as is Limone actually. Bert is invalid. Quite a few of those going around. The Alpha of Failing Squash is on a lap at the moment. I've accidentally paused because of this stupid controller. Yep, very sorry about this. So, can Failing Squash not be he's on an invalid lap? Forget I said anything. I don't know if he'll get another lap in. He does look a tad bit angry there on the straight with his weaving, but we'll ignore that. So, Days is on a very aggressive outlap. I think that's Ricky X just ahead of him. It is. I think next car to start a lap is not Wreckage, he's on an invalid in lap. Okay, a lot of invalidations going on around here. That does seem to be a running thing. Anyway, let's try and find somebody to watch. So, the sister Red Bull of Days, I'd say he's probably got a bit more pace in that. He's been very good in all races so far. He can definitely move up the field. Ricky X, I'm sure he's not too bothered about where he is at the moment, with that 4/10 advantage on Hyper and a 7/10 advantage on championship leader Mipia, who has won the most races of anybody this season. Is anybody on a lap? Hyper's just coming out the pits, so I'll give you an audio lap of Days. Sorry, I think that guy has not been able to join yet. I'm gonna have to invite him again. I thought he's joined after he logged out, apparently not. Anyway, oh, Days has invalidated somewhere. Ricky X, he is currently on a lap. I can't see the deltas because the battery is low thing is in the way, so I've got no idea what he's doing. I'm just gonna have to hope my controller doesn't run out. He's 20 milliseconds up. Not the biggest margin, but still purple. So we will stay on board with him for the moment. But he's not going to be the first driver to cross the line. That will not be Days. It will be not Hyper. That's an outlap. We'll just look at people who are about to cross the line here. Lemon is not Blitztroop outlap. So it is actually going to be Ricky X's first car across the line. Sorry about that, I should have stayed on board with him. He is at the moment though, almost a 10th down, and he has invalidated. So, next car across the line will be the Merc of Wreckage. No, he's on an outlap. It will be the Alpha of Failing. No, he's definitely on a slow lap. Will it be Mipia? No, he's on an outlap. Okay, who's got? I don't know. It's not Days. Oh wait, is he invalidated? Days has invalidated his final lap. That's his quali over. However, for his teammate, quali is very much not over at the moment. Mipio has retired. What? How has he managed that one? I've got no clue what went on there. I think he might have done that on track actually, because he's still moving, but we'll stay on board with Hyper at the moment, and he's invalidated. Never mind, Ricky X has taken the flag, so he's not going to improve. Is anybody going to improve? Days has invalidated. Lemon has not invalidated, and he is our only driver currently on a lap that could displace Ricky X. Whether it does or not, we do not know. Judging by that line, I'd have to say probably not, but you never know. You never know what he has got in the bag on this straight right here. And coming up to the line, his ERS light is flashing. That's probably not a good sign. Lemon does not improve. No, he does improve by 6 tenths, but he does not advance any further up. Next car across the line is Blitztroop. I don't think he's improved. What about F1 CCNZ though? He's on an invalid lap. What about, is anybody going to improve? Well, judging by that, I'd say probably not. Wreckage, definitely not improving. SJ Williams is pit. Well, that was an uneventful end of quali. Other than Mipio retiring, absolutely nothing happened. That's, well, I don't know what to say really. So, Ricky X is on pole. No one really was able to get close to him. Mipio's denied that by either spinning or getting murdered or just feeling like retiring? I don't really know, honestly. Hyper invalidated his final lap. Days invalidated his final lap. About 5 other people invalidated their final laps. Some people didn't settle laps, Snoz included. I think he wasn't able to rejoin after the first incidents for quality. Well, not incidents, sorry. I don't know if he was able to rejoin after. You should check that now, but Mipio is on. No, he's not. Ricky X is on pole. Hyper is second. Mipio is in third. F1 CCNZ fourth. SJ Williams fifth. Burt sixth. Wreckage seventh. Days eighth. Lamone ninth. Failing Squash 10th. Blitztube 11th. And Snoz 12th. Failing to set a lap because I don't believe he could rejoin after he was kicked. So, please God tell me I mean, I know I've turned off formation lap. The question is, yeah, no, formation lap, I've definitely turned it off this time. I swear, was I meant to turn it off? I don't know. It's definitely turned off either way. So, never watched a race around here. Of the things I've heard about races around here, fuel burn is very, very high and people tend to run out pretty easily. So that could be an interesting dynamic towards the end of the race, assuming we don't get any safety cars. Though, if we get one safety car, we've probably only got 10 runners left, then points are guaranteed and you don't really have to do anything. Unless you're of course Mipio, Ricky X and F1 CCNZ all in the championship fight at the moment. Other people can still get in the championship fight. This is only round 6 of 12, but it is time for 5 lights here in Qatar. And it is lights out and away we go. And I think Days got a very good start. That's not Days, that's Hyper. No, he didn't. He's got a terrible start and he's been instantly passed by Mipio, who's already made up for that qualifying lap, well, the last lap. Oh, the Red Bull's gone off in the background. That was the sister Red Bull of Days. Massive snap there. But Ricky X leads from Mipio and Hyper. The McLaren of F1 CCNZ just behind him. Mipio with a great launch initially. SJ Williams and Burt have stayed in the same place along with Wreckage. Snoz has made a brilliant start up to 8th already. And we can see Days already getting past the Alpha Male on 4 failing squash, 4 slash one of them, as Blitztroop has had a bit of a spin in the background there. But still, Ricky X leads from Mipio. For now, I mean, it's been half a lap. We finally get the lovely race strategies graphic. It never happens to me. And, oh, it's gone already. Well, that's disappointing. Anyway, throughout the field, let's see any fights at the moment. Snoz is being followed very closely by Wreckage and Days. Days, who's already starting to recover from going off at turn 1, is right on the back of the Mercedes there. Both cars ahead of him are reserves at the moment, so I'm sure he'll want to get past quickly as they're not technically in any driver's fight with him. But Ricky X does lead at the end of the first lap. Mipio very much keeping with him, and I've just looked away from Days getting past the Merc of Wreckage. So, any other fights at the moment? The Ferrari of Snoz is very close to SJ Williams there. We could see an overtake there pretty soon, but Mipio is right on the back of Ricky X at the moment. Speaking of, actually, let's have a look at the tyres. So the top 3 have all gone for the mediums. Somewhere Hyper has lost a position to F1 CCNZ. He is on the hards, that's understandable, but I did miss that. Mipio is really close to Ricky X here. I don't know if there's a difference in setup maybe, or if where each of the two are quite quick. But at the moment it looks like Mipio has got a great shot of, well, once again fighting his championship rival for the win. And championship P3 man is currently in P3 being F1 CCNZ. So at the moment we're already starting to get some gaps in the field. Hyper is just falling away on the hard tyres, SJ Williams as well. few soft runners, that being Days, so his bad start really does waste some of that advantage that the softs could get you early on. But as it stands, Mipio is very close there. He's going to go for a move, that's the one drive almost. He's not. Oh, Ricky X has got a penalty already. What? How? Well, that's okay. Mipio now doesn't have to do anything to win. We have had a spinner from the Alpine of Burt out of turn 1. Apparently Days is having trouble with his brake pedal. That is, well, that's not ideal, I gotta be honest. It does tend to help having a brake pedal because slowing down can often be important, you know. You wouldn't think it, but it really, well, I mean, you really would think it. But Mipio is still right on the back of Ricky X here. We've also got, oh, Days has got a few overtakes in one there, I've missed that. Days getting past SJ Williams. Snoz has also got past SJ Williams somewhere there. I did miss that, but he's had a brilliant start from 12th, already up to 5th. So that is, I mean, that's great. We don't know what his pace will be like. We've not seen him racing this tier before. But you don't know that he can't get further up the field. So, going on to the main straight though, we've got a very close fight for the top spot here as Mipio pulls out and gets ahead of Ricky X, as does F1 CCNZ, and is he going to go for a double overtake here from 3rd, and he swoops around the outside. Will he get past Mipio cleanly? Keeps it on the track, and F1 CCNZ in the space of a single straight has gone from 3rd to 1st. Mipio overtakes the lead for about 100 metres and then loses it almost instantly, but F1 CCNZ now leads the Qatar Grand Prix. Ricky X, in the space of about 10 seconds, goes from 1st to 3rd. Down the field, have we got any other fights at the moment? Days has been passed by SJ Williams again, who's on the harder tyre. We'll stay on board with F1 CCNZ for now though, because we've got a great fight at the front for once in Tier 2. Most races so far have been domination by someone, or at least races that I have watched have been domination by someone. That is not the case today. So, all these drivers are on the same strategy. It has to be said, Hyper behind is very much sticking with them well on the hard tyre. But if he can get into the DRS on that tyre, he'll be in a brilliant position to win this race. Of course, fuel is also stupidly difficult here, so it will be interesting to see what happens with that. In terms of pit stops, oh, Days has just gone for SJ. Did miss that there. Mipio does stay very close, not quite able to take the lead on this lap though. Potentially F1 CCNZ on a bit of a lower downforce setup. That would explain his slingshot from 3rd to 1st, so that'll be interesting to see for the rest of the race. Mipio very much keeping with him here, but not quite able to do anything just yet. And Ricky X is very much still there after that massive pole position margin, though he doesn't seem to be quite pushing as the other two are, maybe just conserving a bit. You do have to conserve here, tyre wear is terrible, fuel consumption is oddly in this game quite terrible, usually it's quite low really, but here you do have to worry about it. Essentially that's something Ricky X knows about that the others don't. Hyper is still keeping that gap kind of constant, around about 2 seconds, as is Snoz to Hyper. Days is still very much enthralled in that fight with SJ Williams and Wreckage. You'd have thought with the soft tyres he might have pulled away from this, but that has not yet happened. And a lot of drivers do now have penalties. In fact, more than half the field now has a penalty. So that does seem to be a bit of a theme. If you can keep it clean, and we've had an overtake for lead and I've missed it. Mipio has gone round the outside on the straight, and he's taken the lead from F1 CCNZ. Will we have another Mipio win to make it 4 of 6 races? He has won every single race that I have commentated on so far, that being 3 of the previous 5. Will he make it 4 of 4 for when I'm commentating? Now that would be an interesting curse. Probably a good one for Mipio, not a good one for anyone else. I might have to take a week off if we want a championship fight, if that does seem to be the case. But Mipio is, for now, leading the way. F1 CCNZ still very much sticking with him though. Looking at their ERS levels at the moment. I need to turn on telemetry to do that, that would really help. They'll go very similar to 38 though. Much higher. On 60% compared to 16 and 33, so he is in a very good position here. Definitely just taking it a little bit easier in these opening stages and to use that ERS more a little bit later on. Hyper has fallen back a bit more on this lap. Potentially he's just had a small incident because that was not consistent with his previous pace. I think the AlphaTauri of Limone, we'll go with Limone. Limone has had a spin, I think. He caused a yellow flag just there. And oh, I've missed it again. I forgot. Right, no, I'm just gonna keep on these three now because I keep missing it. F1 CCNZ is re-overtaken on the straight. Right, I'm not taking my gaze off these guys now. Or keeping a look on the top three because it is, of course, the battle with the most weight to it, no matter what happens. So we'll stay on board with them. As it stands though, Hyper just beginning to fall away a bit more on those harder tyres. Snows again keeping flat consistent pace to him. As with SJ Williams, who is now broken away from Dave's, those soft tyres probably starting to go on. He's currently got wreckage right on the back of him at all times. But as it stands, we've got a brilliant fight for the top spot. Finally! It's a consistent win. Anyone could win. We've not had this since probably Monza, which, now I think of it, wasn't actually that long ago. But, let's just ignore it and watch the brilliant fight that we have up for another moment. So, I'm not missing this overtake this time. Is Mipio with DRS, potentially with VRS as well? F1 CCNZ does have his light flashing. Is Mipio going to be able to go for the move in turn 1? He just backs out of there. Could have maybe sent it. Would have been a terrible idea for the both of them if they came together though. And for now, Mipio does stay ahead. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. The Alpine of Burt has had a little bit of a spin there. But let's get back to this battle at the front because I do not want to miss anything again. That would be really annoying. Already somehow, 8 laps have passed. This race is going to go pretty quickly. Let's just see if we can have a GPI of the fuel on F1 CCNZ steer. By the looks of it, he is about 1.3 over. Is that the delta? That might be the delta. I really can't tell. No, that's fuel. That's about 1.2 over. I could not see it. That's tight. Yep, can't see it maybe as fuel. That's unfortunate. I don't want to get close to the screen because it looks like 2.8. That does sort of fit with my theory. The Ricky X knows about the high fuel burn here, the other cars might do not. That'll be interesting to see, but we could have another DRS overtake here on this main straight. Mipio with DRS pulls to the outside into turn 1, and he's gonna go clean route there. Words have failed me, but Mipio goes clean route this outside. They failed me again. Can't say that. Clean round the outside. Oh, Ricky X. Not Ricky X, he didn't overtake Ricky X. Oh god, this has gone terribly. Clean around the outside of F1 CCNZ. It only took me 30 seconds to say the words. So, Hyper has fallen a little bit further back on the hard tyres again. Don't know if those are starting to come through just yet. He did have very good pace initially, but that just seems to be slightly dropped now. If we can get that kind of zoomed in camera, I might see the first fuel, but oh yeah, you do have to wait for the show, please. 0.5, that's not going to make it. I don't think Mipio's going to make this race on fuel. I don't think he knows about it. I mean, if that is the case, this race has been completely turned on its head. Ricky X has the most fuel of the three of them. So he is in possibly a great position. I don't know if fuel burn has been changed at this track. I'm fairly sure it's not. Yeah, I mean, I've seen many people DNF from it before. But going on to the main straight here, Can F1 CCNZ, with now what we know as a slightly higher fuel load than Mipio, retake the lead into turn 1. He pulls out to the inside and is ahead before the corner. The DRS seemingly very powerful here, and we've had changes of the lead every other lap near enough, but Mipio is still very close out of turn 3, though I don't think he's going to make movements there. So, at the moment, the only other fight on track is between the AlphaTauri of Lamone and Burt. Days has had a pit stop in there somewhere, but we'll watch as Burt into turn 1 goes past the AlphaTauri of Lamone. Not completely past yet though. Will Lamone stick his nose in? He does, and he's going to keep it ahead there, I think. Though it's going to actually continue on into turn 4. The Alpine of Burt on the inside, and by the looks of it, he is fully ahead as they get to turn 5. Anyway, we'll now look back to the battle that matters most at the front. Maybe you can try and get a cheeky bit of Mipio's fuel in them. He's going easy. F1 CCN looks rather a lot less than I really can't tell. Oh yeah, the fuel burn's high. Mipio is in trouble here, I think, and Mipio might be in a brilliant position, as the two ahead of him are probably going to have to start lift and coasting. Lift and coast? Lift and coast. Sorry. Yeah, lift and coast. Our words have not worked today at all. I mean, I've been like 5 races without Jack or Kofi as co-commentators now. Both of them just slacking on the job. One of them went to France, the other one went to America, just leaving me without any assistance whatsoever, and it's showing that I've lost grasp on reality. What has not lost grasp on reality is the Alpine of Ricky X, who is still hanging on to this battle though, with quite a bit more fuel than the cars ahead, and I mean, by the looks of it, it's about, at the current fuel burn rate, I don't think either of these top two are going to finish. Ricky X is in a brilliant position at the moment, just hanging on with DRS. He does have the 3-second time penalty, but that won't matter if the 2 cars ahead of him can't get to the checkered flag. So we have a very odd dynamic here of where we have a genuine chance that 2 of the top 3 don't even finish the race. But that won't come for about another 15 laps at least. For now though, what's happened to Burt? I think he's had another spin, and he's gone round in the middle sector. Anyway, into turn 1, F1 CCNZ, has he taken the lead or defended the lead there? I really can't remember, these two have been changing that much, but it's still a very close battle up to turn 4. I have a feeling he's defending the lead. I'm going to go defending. Mipio is shown to the inside, but he's not going to go for a move there. That would be certain death for the 2 of them. And we now have just 3 drivers without a penalty. The 2 of them, the top 2 of F1 CCNZ and Mipio. And then the 3rd one is Snoz in 5th, who started dead last and has had a brilliant race so far and does have some really good pace. But we will just keep with this battle at the front because it isn't ending. All 3 of them still comfortably within DRS of each other. That fuel dynamic is going to make for a very interesting end to this race. I don't know if Mipio is going to start from post yet, if he's already started, if he's even looks at his fuel. If he doesn't notice until he runs out, that would be tragic really. But if we look to F1 CCNZ, yep, he's losing fuel and he's actually diving into the pits here. F1 CCNZ going for what? Trying to keep the lead. Definitely no undercut coming from Mipio there as he stays out and takes the lead again. Ricky X is also following F1 CCNZ into the pits. It'd be interesting to see if potentially he can jump him here. A good release could change that. Looks like Ricky X release was a bit slow. And these 2 stay pretty much stacked up coming out of the pits, both going for the hard tyres. Is anyone behind on fresher tyres able for an undercut? I don't think so. They're just going to be out ahead of SJ Williams though. And behind the Mercedes of wreckage at the moment, Mipio is staying out, of course, because, well, he's not pit. Wow, that was a great sentence. Oh god. But Hyper will almost certainly at some point take the lead here on those hard tyres. He's definitely going to go longer, probably to about lap 17. I don't see Mipio trying to stay out that long. That would be probably unwise, because these two behind him are really going to undercut. And I mean, he does have to worry about fuel, so that would definitely throw a... oh god, what's the phrase? No, I'm just not going to use the phrase, just forget I said it. Anyway, F1 CCNZ has got just over a second's advantage on Ricky X at the moment. Of course, we really don't know what's going to happen at all until about a lap left maybe, because either one of these starts lift coasting and has a drop in pace, or potentially nothing happens at all and I'm completely wrong about the fuel. Now that one wouldn't surprise me. But has Mipio come into the pits? He has, and is he going to get out ahead of F1 CCNZ here? Potentially a good outlap. F1 CCNZ is ahead. What about Ricky X? There's a safety car. How did I not notice that? Well, that adds to the ever-growing list of things I completely missed this season. This time it is the bright yellow sign that a safety car has come out. That is a beautiful gift for Mipio and F1 CCNZ. I don't think either of them would have finished this race without it. That is possibly the worst thing that could have happened to Ricky X as well, as it just stopped him getting past Mipio on pit exit. And let's see, what else could have changed there? Well, I mean, we'll see. It is still a bit in question as to whether Mipio gets to the end. I think F1 CCNZ is pretty safe at the end now. He's in a very good position. It's still a bit uncertain if Mipio can quite save all the fuel. But while we're in this safety car period, let's have a look at the rest of the grid. Hyper is in a brilliant position and he may well take the lead here. He's going to come into the pits off those hard tyres because he stayed out a lap longer than everyone else. And it's almost certain that Hyper is going to be in the lead on a fresh medium. Now that certainly does throw a bit into the mix there. He does go for the mediums. And now, the question is, will he get ahead of F1 CCNZ, who is still under Delta, and it looks like F1 CCNZ is going to get ahead. In fact, all three of the top three will, but Hyper is right on the back of them on a fresh medium tyre. The mediums which did look very strong in the open SJ from the top three. So Hyper could also be in a great position there because he's on the right way. At the moment, Snoz is also in a very good position now on those hard tyres. Right. I'm just going to leave you riding on board with F1 CCNZ as I go just for a second in the safety car. am very sorry about that. I am back just in time for this safety car restart. F1 CCNZ leads them away into turn 1. Mipio just on the outside there. Ricky X also staying behind. Hyper very close behind him though, but F1 CCNZ does lead the way. I don't think anything has happened in the background there. Can't see just yet. I've literally been in the back from when they crossed the line. But F1 CCNZ does lead the way. Mipio still very close behind him. I'm not sure on the fuel situation, and Lamone has died. Have we got another safety car? I don't think just yet, as we got the Haas there going very wide, as Days get past Burt as well. Top 5, sorry, have all stayed the same. Wreckage is now up to P6, Days P7. And we will stay having a look at this then. So, Lamone has now left, but F1 CCNZ is being followed very closely by Mipio here. The start of Sector 3, that is incredibly close. That is, I mean, I've not seen that close before, that's unbelievable. I've not seen a race there as well, so that would explain that. But still, I mean, 2021 doesn't count, does it? Anyway, onto the main straight. Mipio is going to go for it comfortably here, and almost certainly take the lead. Though it does actually look like F1 CCNZ has a little bit of a better straight line speed there, and he's going to go clean round the outside into turn 1. Ricky X is still behind them. Hyper on the fresh mediums is right on the back of Ricky X though. He could certainly add something new to this race. Snoz is also keeping with the leaders here. So that is a new dynamic in this part of the race. Snoz could really add something to it here. But we'll stay on board with Mipio for the moment. As in the background, Hyper is right on the back of Ricky X. I think Mipio might have slightly tapped F1 CCNZ there, not completely sure. Ricky X is still ahead of Hyper. Days is now starting to join this train as well. This is really spicing up, and the Mercedes of Wreckage is also still in this train. Absolutely anyone could win this. Of course, penalties can change it, fuel can change it. A few other things can probably also change it, just not thought of those ones yet. But F1 TCNZ does still lead. Him and Mipio not having penalties will certainly help them. And SJ Williams has managed to get himself disqualified. That is a new one. Actually, it's not the first time he's done it. Anyway, F1 CCNZ continues to lead. That might change onto this main straight though, as we see Mipio not quite as close as he was on the previous lap. And F1 CCNZ definitely going to keep the lead there. In the background, Ricky X is still very close to this, as is Hyper, who's right on the back of Ricky X at the moment. Snoz is still keeping with them. Days is still keeping with them. Wreckage is just starting to fall away now though. But we've, at the moment, got a potential 6-car fight for the lead here. And, well, I mean, we've got different tyres on these cars, very different fuel levels, if that does become a factor towards the end. And of course penalties as well, which is probably the most decisive factor at the moment. But it's a straight fight between Mipio and F1 CCNZ. If either of them get a penalty, or both of them, Ricky X is just as much in as well. If these two get a penalty, Snoz would be in a brilliant position down in P5. He could do the ultimate last to first challenge, and he's not even a tier 2 rider, he's a tier 3 reserve. Not tier 3, he's a full-time tier 3 reserve in the tier 2. But Mipio is still right on the back of F1 CCNZ here. This has been a great restart, as we see Hyper going very wide in the background there. That could be another penalty. No, F1 CCNZ has picked up a penalty. That's put Mipio in a brilliant position. He can now finish 4th and still probably win. So Mipio can just try to keep it clean now, but he's not going to do that. He's going to try and go around the outside into turn 1. Look like a bit of contact there between the two. But Mipio does stay ahead, as Burt has now set the fastest lap. And he could potentially, if he catches this train, make it a 7-car train for the lead. So, we'll stay on board with the fight at the front of the moment. None of these 6 can really overtake each other. As it stands, it's not really possible when they're so close. F1 TCNZ though, does still stay out front. I'm going to really quickly check Race Director to see if Mipio has a warning. Mipio doesn't even have a warning yet, so he is in a brilliant position to win this GP. Assuming he's only got to keep it clean for 9 laps. He's got 3 tries with track limits. He's in a very good position here to keep that curse going of every time I commentate, Mipio wins the race. But we'll not bother about who's going to win after penalties. We'll look at the winner on track, and by the looks of it, Mipio wants to be the one that wins on track, as well as after penalties. As we see F1 CCNZ going a bit wide again, that could be another warning there. As Snors is just starting to fall away a little bit. He's still kept DRS, I think. But onto this main straight, we see Mipio with DRS pulls to the outside, going over the line, and into turn 1, Mipio is clear ahead of F1 CCNZ in the McLaren. So Hyper is still very close behind on these 3 ahead, and he's practically pushing Ricky X there through turn 1 and 2. Hyper, Snors is in a great position still. If he can keep with this DRS train, potentially even overtake some cars, he's in a great position and could be from 12th to 2nd in his very first race in this tier. That would be a great achievement. But Mipio seems to be trying to check out a bit here. He's now managed to pull 9 tenths already, and that gap is now over a second. I think Mipio's really going for it on the DRS here. Certainly is going down quite a bit. But we'll see what happens towards the end of the lap, and I have just remembered I need to sort out the offset cameras for this. I will do that for next race. But Mipio does still lead the way, and he's at the moment teetering on the edge of breaking that DRS to F1 CCNZ, probably the most important thing he could do in this race. If he can break clear here, that is pretty much this race won for him. But Hyper has gone off very wide again there. Is that another penalty potentially? He's not picked up one yet, but I'm sure he will have had some extra warnings now. But has F1 CCNZ got DRS? He hasn't. Mipio has managed to break away with the fastest lap as well, and here comes Ricky X into turn 1 on the inside, and he gets up to P2. So will Ricky X maybe be able to chase Mipio for this P1? He's definitely been on the conservative side of strategy. Of course, fuel could still play a factor towards it in this race. We're not sure if Mipio was able to save enough under the safety car. It's very difficult to see the fuel levels on that Williams dashboard, so I can't just sneak a little look in there. We can on the likes of Ricky X, who at the moment has got, I think, 2.2. F1 CCNZ is on 1.3. And Mipio, I'm going to get proper close to the screen here, looks to be on about 0.9. I'd say he's probably safe to the end. It's not certain, but at the moment it could be plain sailing for Mipio towards the end of this GP. So he's now 1.3 ahead of Ricky X in a 2nd place. That is a comfortable enough gap at the moment. But F1 CCNZ and Hyper and Snors are all still in a great shot for 2nd place. Snors does seem to be falling back just slightly as Ricky X has picked up another penalty. That is really bad for his race here. That's almost a certain P5 as it stands. He's definitely out of the win now, I think it's safe to say, unless something really bad happens to cars around him. But into turn 1 here, we're going to see Hyper go for a move on the inside of F1 CCNZ. Hyper has been rapid these past few laps on those medium tyres, and is he finally going to get to show it here, getting past the driver ahead? No, he's just forced out wide by F1 CCNZ there. But is he going to go for it again into turn 3? Just not enough speed there. He does get alongside, but F1 CCNZ is able to get clean around the outside. And I think Mipio has made a mistake there, because Ricky X has managed to get in his DRS. That gap has now closed by 6 tenths. And this race has once again been blown wide open. It does seem like Ricky X has some really good pace. He's managed to pull away from F1 CCNZ a bit. Definitely helped by the fighting between him and Hyper. But at the moment, Mipio, I'd say it's clean sailing with the penalties cars behind him, but you have no clue what could happen here. There's 6 laps. He could easily pick up 3 warnings accidentally. Maybe he could do it on purpose to spice things up a little bit. That's definitely outright. Surely that's a warning. Let's just have a cheeky look. Has he finally got a warning? Mipio has finally got a warning in this race. So, the pressure potentially piling on there. And Mipio now, towards the end, will just have that thought in the back of his mind, just trying not to go over track limits, which might make it even more easy to do. He may well get that track limit penalty that could absolutely ruin his race. But F1 CCNZ is now closed in a bit on Ricky X, who has really closed in on the back of Mipio. I think Ricky X wants to get a move on here. He wants to at least win this race on track. With his penalties, it's unlikely he gets the final win unless he can get them removed post-race, which is always a possibility. But let's just see. Do you think maybe potentially Mipio has realised that his fuel isn't in a great situation? Because that would certainly explain why he lost 6/10 around and out. We'll just stay on board with him to see if we can hear any left first. At the moment, that doesn't seem to be the case. But you never know. We'll stick with it as soon. What's that? That's a very glowy arena. I've got no clue what that is. Anyway. We'll stay on board with Mickey a bit. It doesn't sound like this is costume. Also, I should probably apologise to John. It's starting to get a bit cold. But Ricky X here, it's turn 1. He's very close on the main straight, which doesn't quite go for it into turn 1. It doesn't sound like Mipio is really coasting at all. So potentially he is opening up towards the end. Though it definitely needs to start now if that's not the case. Ricky X, I mean, he's definitely okay on field. He's got absolutely loads. F1 TCNZ, I'm not completely sure about him. I think he'll be alright. He's got a bit more than Mipio, a bit less than Ricky X. But this race is the one where fuel really does for once matter, and people could actually be under threat of not finishing. So, as it stands, Mipio is in a very, very good position with penalties behind. But that could very easily change, as I have actually missed. Bert has got past Snots for P6. Ricky X might be able to hold on to P4 now with his penalties, with Snots just falling back slightly. Though I think Snots is still in that window. We'll just have a quick look at the leader gap to check. Snots is in that window at the moment, so Ricky X does need to pull away from him a little bit more. But onto the main straight here, I think Ricky X will be only thinking about one thing. That'll be taking the lead on track, and going into turn 1, he takes the inside line and is a full car ahead into turn 1, and there goes F1 CCNZ as well on Mipio, also going into turn 1, and Mipio has, just like Ricky X did in the early stages, lost 2 places in the space of 1 corner. Now it'll be interesting here to see maybe if another driver might hold Mipio up because of his lack of penalties. We're not sure what might happen there. Didn't mean to turn the UI off. Ricky X does now lead. He has the most penalties of... Oh, my nose is really going. He has the most penalties of any driver here. Well, at the front at least, because that record is currently held by Failing Squash in the Alfa Romeo, who is 28 seconds behind the next nearest car. But Ricky X has 6 seconds of penalties. At the moment, that would place him in P6. No, P5, sorry. No. P4 maybe. I think P4. As Snoz and Bert are fighting, and Bert has actually gone off the track. Into the gravel there. I'm not sure if he's got damage. But that's certainly ruined his race. Anyway, we want to keep a close look on the fight at the front, because we do finally have one. Not since Monza have we had a fight like this. And at the moment, F1 CZNZ with DRS is going to pull out on the main straight and take the inside, and is a full car ahead before turn 1. F1 CZNZ retakes the lead. We have now these 4 leaders. We've had 4 different leaders in this race, and F1 CZNZ has taken it again, sharing it with Ricky X and Mipio. Hyper, who had it for just a lap as the safety car came out before he then pit. My nose is really gone, sorry. Really cold. 1 second. But anyway, oh, it's gonna. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Anyway. Oh wait, no, I saw that overtake. Never mind, I did see that one. But as it stands, Mipio is still very much in a position to win. Ricky X, no matter what he does, it looks like it's going to be P4 for him. Mipio, no matter what he does, I think he's going to win at the moment, unless he picks up a penalty here. But let's just focus on this on-track battle. I don't feel the ownership. I can't quite see it. Mipio, I think that's about 0.3. He should be fine to the end now. But on the main straight, is Ricky X going to be able to retake the lead? He's going to dive down the inside into turn 1. No contact there between the two of them. F1CCNZ does go quite wide. It looks like into turn 2 though, F1CCNZ is going to keep the lead from Ricky X, who's still very close behind them. Will potentially go for a move into turn 3. He does have some speed, but he's going to choose to stay behind him as well. So F1CCNZ does keep the lead. Ricky is still in position to win after penalties. Of course, some of these penalties could be removed. You never know. Got off there. But as it stands, I mean, another interesting one could be Hyper. He is on those medium tyres. They're definitely starting to go towards this point, but he doesn't seem to have any loss in pace at all. He's very much still in with a chance here. So, I think Ricky X, it's basically impossible for him to win this race after penalties at the moment, but he will want to win on track, and it looks like he's trying to do that at the moment. He's only 2/10 behind F1CCNZ. As we go to the penultimate corner, final corner of the penultimate lap, and onto the final lap, F1CCNZ is going to lead the way. Will Ricky X though be able to take the lead, at least onto this final lap, so he can win on track? He does do so on into turn 1, comfortably ahead. Ricky X goes into the lead, and Mipio has been passed by Hyper. So Mipio, our current potential winner, looks like he's only going to finish 4th on the road, but I'm sure he won't mind too much if he wins in the end. Ricky X does look to have a good chance to win on the road now. It'll be interesting to see though. Hyper does seem to have a bit of a loss in pace here, and if he's, I mean, exceptionally slow, I really doubt it, because he's had good pace this whole race. But there is potential for Mipio to lose out here. You never know, maybe if he runs out of fuel. I don't think he is going to run out of fuel, but we'll keep an eye on that anyway. Though we'll stick for now with Ricky, who is almost certainly at this point gonna win on track. He did start on pole by a massive margin, 4/10 to F1CCNZ, 7/10 to Mipio in 3rd. He didn't quite keep the lead for most of the race, sitting behind in 3rd. He's gone off the track again there, potentially trying to get just that bit extra, uses one last joker. But going round the final corner of the final lap, it's going to be Ricky X that wins on track. But it is going to be Mipio, just crossing the line now to confirm it, who will win the 4th race this season for himself. And that means he does continue the record of every time I commentate, he wins. F1CCNZ does come home in 2nd place after his penalty. Maybe that could get removed and he could win. Hyper comes home in 3rd after Ricky X's penalties were applied. Potentially either of them could get penalties removed as well. And either of these drivers from 1st to 4th could win this race depending on if penalties change. Snors finishes 5th in the end. He did have very good pace, starting last as well. He had a brilliant opening lap, going up 7 places. Days finishes 6th from wreckage in 7th. Burt, after a few spins, finishes 8th. And we are nearly at the line with the Alfa Romeo of failing squash now, with a amount of penalties that is not quite to be admired, it must be said. And 31 seconds behind the nearest car. I'm sure he won't mind, because he's had a good race and it is his 1st race in the league. A bit of celebratory weaving, as despite being so far back, he is going to get points in P9. But it is Mipio that does once again win when I commentate. I don't know if that curse will continue, because I plan on commentating every race for the rest of the season. Now, if Mipio plans on winning every race for the rest of the season, that remains to be seen. You would hope not for a championship fight. But it is once again Mipio out front, F1CCNZ with his 4th podium of the season in P2. Ricky X misses out in P4, but Hyper does get onto the podium after that alternate strategy for him in P3. I've said that in a weird order there. But I mean, Mipio has a decent lead coming into this round. Ricky X did win last time out, but that's only going to help him in extending his advantage out front. Anyway, that was probably my favourite race this season. That was definitely the best battle from lead we've had so far. The timing screen doesn't quite show it after penalties are applied, but it was a very close finish, and those top 4 gave us a brilliant race throughout. Snors, definitely I think driver of the day there, from 12th to 5th on the opening lap, and he had a great pace throughout. Days does finish 6th, Wreckage in 7th, Burt in 8th after a few spins. I think he did have a bit better pace than that. The Alfa Romeo failing squash is the last finisher and scores points on his league debut. And then the non-finishers were Lamone in 10th, Blitztroop in 11th, and SJ Williams, who was disqualified from what we now know as being beach, which is unlucky for him. But in the end, your top 3 is Mipio, F1CCNZ, and Hyper. Pole sitter Ricky X after penalties does finish 4th. And we will see you next week for, I just need to check. Oh, it's China. Well, I mean, that'll be an interesting one. Racing is always good there, though I don't think anyone particularly enjoys it, except for Magnus. So, we will see them. Goodbye.